We're back.
Welcome everybody back to Home by 9.
I know it's been so long, guys. I know we're old.
I'm in my 90s.
And I'm in my 70s right now. Don't play.
Is it really that much? Oh, shit, it is. 20 years. Right now?
Yeah.
10 years. You would be in your 80s.
Oh, I'm in my 80s?
Emily doesn't know how to do math still.
That's Camilo, sorry.
But welcome back. We did film another episode before this. We were trying to put it out there for you guys, but if it's not one thing or another, I think we're just cursed at this point, honestly. And right on time for spooky season, right? Well, we're just glad to be back.
And I can't. I cannot look like this when I'm old. I refuse. But as you can tell, we're dressed up as old ladies today.
What are you talking about, old?
Sorry, that's how Crystal usually looks.
I tell Emily she looks like that lady from SpongeBob? Is it the one that says, what are they selling? No, that's the daughter. The daughter.
The daughter?
Yeah, it's the daughter. But, yeah, it's so weird to see ourselves like this, right? I can't picture myself like this. Let me just make it clear. I'm making sure my hair does not look like this.
I will not have this haircut.
And
stop.
I'm not going to dress like this. If I have to go find a way to pay for a BBL, get something done to me, I am.
Stop, because, okay, I had to literally tuck in part of this wig because it was like a whole ass mullet. I literally look like Billy Ray Cyrus.
I don't know. It kind of still does.
Shut up.
But, yeah, there was like a whole malfunction. I think the whole wig just has
I don't know.
Something. But anyways, we're glad to be back. Yeah, we just went, is it?
MIA.
I always want to say, what
MAI.
MAI. But we just been so busy. Emily got a new job.
It did. Emily got a car, guys.
She got a car. As for myself, again, school, I got a job as well, and then I'm currently waiting to start doing some hours as well for my school. Well, to help me out with school, I would say like that. But yeah, we've been pretty busy. You guys know life gets hectic, and then, well, I mean, nowadays everything's just crazy, and I feel like the days go by so fast. That's the crazy part.
They do, but then I don't know. For me, like working, sometimes it's like it doesn't because of like all the calls. But then sometimes it does. I don't know.
Well, for me, I feel like it goes by fast, working or not. But I just feel like it's just like my day's like so busy that it's just like by the time I look, I'm like, oh crap, like I have to go.
For me, I feel like the weekend goes by really fast.
Well, I feel like it goes by slow because that's when I work on the weekend.
Oh, so. Well,
yeah. And then like before coming today here to film, I worked, so I was like rushing to get out. I'm like, I'm just gonna do a little something to myself. But then I got here and Emily just finished doing my makeup. Yeah.
Well, a little bit, but.
Well, you did put makeup. I don't look like this normally. My daughter was like, "Did you put makeup?" I was like, "No. You usually look like this." I was like,
"Yeah,
no.
She does."
But yeah, I think it's a cute idea. This, I mean,
I guess.
I was telling Emily, I'm like, can you realize? I'm like that. Maybe this is like the first time or like the only time our parents see us as old people. I'm like, it's just weird, but
it's not.
But we're not gonna look like this.
I'm for real not gonna look like this. If I look like this, I will literally die before my actual death day comes.
I'm telling you, just get a couple of little jobs done here and there. But anyways, how have you been? And what else you wanna share with everybody?
I've been good. I mean, just school to work, I work now full-time job, so it's like literally 8 a.m. to 4:30, and then after that, I either go to the gym or do something, and then back to sitting down on the computer doing my homework. So it's literally I'm just on the screen all day.
But don't you get tired of it?
I do. I really do.
And do you feel like your eyesight is getting worse?
Yes, now? Like as you can tell, I'm wearing glasses. These are my actual glasses.
I'm like the Mexican moms. Tanto teléfono te va a hacer que pierdas la vista.
No, earlier. Oh my God. I was like looking at the screen right during like one of my calls. And like for a second, I just like felt so dizzy. And like if my vision just went like blurry for a sec. And I was like, yeah.
You know what I'm thinking about? I'm like, imagine our generation when we get actually like to this age, like the music that we listen to now, right? Like, let's say, like for us, like Hispanics or whatever, like the corridos, and you know what I mean, like the reggaeton, the hip hop, all that
Imagine
stuff,
them nursing homes.
right? And be like, honey, play me that song, like that one meme. They're like, recuérdame, and the lady's like, que recuérdame, ponme un pinche corrido. That's gonna be our generation. But isn't it crazy to think about? Like we think about like our parents' generation, and like you listen to their music, and it does sound.
I mean, yes, but then they have those songs that it's like,
yeah,
come on now,
that make you feel like a señora yourself.
Yes, no, like for me, I actually worked at a nursing home, so for me, listening to those songs, like they were really cute, they were sweet. You can tell they were like a little old, like little oldies and stuff. And like I listened to like our music, and I'm like, we're literally gonna be listening to this in an old person's home.
Like our music,
yes.
Rack City bitch, Rack City bitch.
I'm like, there's gonna be WAP playing. You're gonna have all these Drake songs.
Oh my god, imagine. No Diddy.
Stop.
No Diddy. But anyways, we wanted to make this one like a spooky
little episode. Because we did try to do a spooky episode before our little break, but then that video got cut. I don't know if it was the ghost or what.
Yeah, we've been having so much bad luck with our videos, like with the audio. Like we get everything fixed, we were doing everything, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something pops up.
For that one, like what, our whole audio got cut?
Yeah, it was so weird. So let's just cross our fingers and hope that this one works out for us. So yeah, we just wanted to get into like this spooky season, share a couple of our experiences, with like paranormal or ghost encounters,
or just what do you think these are?
What?
Like no, like I'm saying, like what do they think these are?
I was like, what? These are ghosts. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I've had a couple encounters or experiences.
Have you had any recently? Because I don't think I've had any recently.
Recently, I'm trying to think if I have. Have I had anything recently? I honestly don't feel like I have. Can I just share one experience though? Like, I don't want to okay, I'll just say it. So like there was this one time like I kept feeling and I kept seeing like this shadow and it was like always a male figure, right? And I've always, again, those who know, I am a twin, and from what we know, my twin was a boy. So like I did get my cards read a while back, right? It was like this whole thing. I know it's not good because you bring bad energy to yourself, and I've always hear that, like don't do that because you're gonna bring something negative to you. But honestly, like around that time, I just felt so much negativity. Like I already felt it. I'm like, what else is gonna come? You know what I mean?
You're like at this point, how's it gonna get worse?
You know what? At this point, I'm just fucking prepared. So like at that time, like I did get my cards read, and like I did ask them like, hey, they're like, is there anything else you want to know or like any questions you want to ask? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I do see this figure often. I'm like, it's been a while and I just want to get clarity on what it is, if it's something bad or good. But I'm like, I feel like I know what it is, but I just don't want to say it. So then the girl starts doing her, her thing. And then she was like, oh, I do see, I feel like it's like a brotherly figure. She's like, it's a male. And right off the bat, I was like, yep, it's my twin. But let me make this clear. After that, I've never, ever seen that shadow again. I've never encountered that shadow at all. So I'm like,
maybe he just wanted you to know that it was him. Like maybe he's like protecting you,
But the thing that was crazy, it's like, okay, I'd seen it before. Like even when I lived with my mother-in-law before moving to the apartment, right? I had seen it before. And like one experience that I had before, like, I got my cards read and, figure out whatever, if it's true, that it was that. I had this one experience of like, what is it called? Is it sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
Fucking hate that. I am very, I don't know how to explain it to you.
Chris is very in tune with the other further world,
right? No, but like I have the tendency of getting a lot of sleep paralysis. Like it's happened to me a lot of times. So this one time I was like, oh, of course, asleep. And then all of a sudden I hear like this nasty, like growl, like this voice, like nasty. And I couldn't wake up. So like for me, when when something like that happens, for some reason in my dreams, I always tend to start praying, right? And like I could feel them squishing my head, like squishing it, right? And I was like praying. Well, when I woke up, tell me why I had the worst headache, like worst headache. And like that tripped me the fuck out because I was like, how do you explain this dream and waking up with having a headache? And then like days after, Christian's cousin went over because I think it was like for 4th of July, right? And I went into, I think it was to the bathroom, and then she was like, "Did Christian walk behind you?" Christian again is my husband, and I was like, "No, no, I." She's like, "I'm not trying to scare you or anything." She's like, "But I seen a male like literally walk behind you," and that just tripped me out. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, I told her about the sleep paralysis. I was like, it's so crazy that you tell me that. I'm like, because the voice that I heard was like a male. So again, I don't know if it was good, it was bad. I don't know. So I mean, I don't know, Emily. I know you have one.
I mean, I have mine. You know, like it's been a while. I don't think he's. I don't think he came around this last year, honestly, because he's always here. But last year, I don't think he came around. At least I don't think. You know, I wasn't here home. I was with you, Crystal, but I don't think he came around last year. So there was this one time. It was maybe like what, like 2020 maybe. Like, was it during COVID?
I think it was during
COVID. I think I told you. So it was like during like December, during like January, and I swear I thought I saw like a man walk behind me. In my head, I was like, "Oh, it's my dad." I was trying to close the car from like the window. Let me give you a little, like, what is it? Like a little picture of how my house is. So it's the living room and the kitchen are like put together, and then the door to my bedroom is literally right there in the living room. So, you know, I was looking at the window, which is on this side, and I was right here. My door is right here. And I swore I saw somebody walk behind me thinking it was my dad. It was literally a male too. And I thought, okay, because I saw him go into my room. So in my head, I was like, oh, it's my dad. He's probably using the restroom. So I closed the car, I put the keys back, and then I'm like, hey, dad, like, are you done using the restroom? Like, I gotta go. But, you know, in Spanish. And then my mom yells at me from the other side of the house, and she's like, ¿de qué hablas? Tu padre acá está en el cuarto. And I was just like, girl,
I
was like, girl, no. I was like, no, you're just imagining it. He probably did go to the restroom, you know, like, don't say anything. Like, I didn't ask, like, oh, like, did he go to the restroom or not? I was just like, okay, like, maybe he went to the restroom. I didn't see him get out, and, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
So I could still go to the restroom because I was like, no, don't scare yourself.
Behind the shower curtain, peekaboo.
Literally, I was like, don't scare yourself, whatever. So then after that, I end up coming to find out my dad never went into my restroom. And I was just like, girl, please stop right now. And then after that, I had one other encounter.
Can you share the fact that afterwards our sister told us?
Okay, wait, I'm getting to that. Okay. But there is an encounter, I think it was after that, where mom was at work and I was in my room and I was doing homework. I have a white desk and it was facing one of the walls and I was doing my homework and I had my headphones in, so I was like, you know, like I can't hear anything around me. So then on like the table, it was a white desk. So I saw a shadow behind me. Like I saw it on, you know, the desk. Like I saw the figure. And in my head, I was like, oh, like my mom probably got here and I didn't hear her with my headphones. So I take off my headphones. I turn around. I kid you not, there's nothing behind me. And I turned back around to the desk and I was like, what just happened? Like I just stood there and I was like, okay, maybe like she saw me doing homework, whatever. She went back to the kitchen. I didn't see her walk out. So I go into the living room and dad's in the living room and I was like, oh, like, did mom get home? And he was like, no, like she hasn't gotten home. And I was like, girl, bye. Please stop right now. It wasn't him. Oh. Like, you know, dad takes a while to walk. Yeah. So I feel like with him, I would have seen him. Yeah. Or would have heard him trying to get up the stairs.
Well, I mean, you saw dad supposedly that one time in the
I know. So I was like, what the hell just happened? Because I swear I saw the figure of like the head behind me. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I literally saw that. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going crazy. Please tell me I'm not going crazy. So
It
after
comes
that,
behind you, you're going crazy, bitch.
literally, I hear him right here. No, so then after that, I had told Crystal this situation, and we ended up going to my other sister's house. And I told her the situation that happened, and she was all like, she's like, when did this happen? And I was like, around like December, January. She's like, okay, can I tell you something? Like, I don't want to scare you, but can I tell you something? And I was like, okay. And so the owners of this house, before us, before the other family that lived here too, they were like the first owners of this house.
And then the daughter
that lived here,
of the couple that lived
yeah,
here
was my sister's friend. And her dad was actually the one who made my room into a bedroom because it used to be a garage. So then my sister shows me that I guess the girl, her old friend, had a vlog. And she's like, her dad passed away on Christmas. This is a picture of him. I kid you not, when she showed me the picture, I started bawling my eyes out because that's exactly how I seen him dressed. Even though he walked behind me, I still got like a glimpse of the outfit. And that's exactly how like our dad dresses.
Yeah.
So when I saw the outfit, I busted out crying. I was like, I'm done. I couldn't stay home. I had to go to Crystal that night to spend the night because I was like, I cannot be there.
But you know what? It's that sometimes like there's, I think, like the spirits sometimes get attached to
the
stuff.
home.
And she told us that this man
loved this house.
Loved this house. Like he made this house like for his family, right?
Yeah.
Like he did what he could to make it to where he liked it for his family. So it's like sometimes these, spirits get attached to it, and it sucks because it's like then you're the one.
I'm like, okay, but this is my house now. Please go.
Sir, I'm taking care of we're taking care of your house. You need to leave.
It's nice, please.
Yeah.
But way before that, before he even passed or any of this situation happened, I remember our sister Liz, our oldest sister, she was living here with us.
Yeah.
And there was a time where I stayed with her oldest daughter, and she ended up going to the store with my mom and her youngest daughter. And my dad was here, but he was like in the backyard, and our yard is pretty big, so he was like all the way in the back, and it was just me and my niece that were inside the house. And I kept hearing like a voice calling my name. And I don't know if you've heard of like the whole
like, puta.
I don't know if you've heard of like mimicking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like my mom's voice. That's what I was hearing, and it just kept saying my name. And I was like, okay, like I checked outside, like, like, oh, maybe they forgot something.
Maybe it's Gwen. Maybe it's Elsa.
She was like, ah. So then I was like, okay, like, let me check. Maybe she forgot something. Nobody was here no more. They had left. The car was gone. My dad was all the way in the back. And I tell my niece, I'm like, I didn't want to say anything because I was like, oh, like, she's a kid. If I say, oh, I hear this, she's going to be like, I hear it too. You know how kids are. So I was like, hey, like, do you hear anything by any chance? And she's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, what do you hear? And she's like, I hear like grandma calling your name. And I was like, girl.
She's right behind you.
Imagine, she's like, I see the lady behind you in that chair.
Well, goddamn lady.
So I was like, you hear it too? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, hell no, girl. I'm not doing this today. I'm not doing this.
If you're going to be in this house, you better start paying a bill. I don't know which one you want to pay, the light,
the water,
the gas, what you want to pay.
But I was like, but you're not living here rent free. But I was just like, So I remember, like, we just left it at that. Like, we heard it for a while, but we didn't pay attention to it. And eventually, like, it went away.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like, that happened.
Yeah.
But I've had, like, little encounters here and there. But recently, nothing.
You know what? I do remember recently I did have one. And that was at our sister's house when I took care of the kids.
Oh, don't you remember when we went, though, one day? It was you and I, and it was Amaya, and then, the little boy. I don't want to say names. Little boy. N.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we went to her house. We had to get, like, some stuff, and she wasn't home.
No, but I was not talking about that, sister.
I know.
It wasn't that, though. It was the fridge.
Crystal, it was not that fridge.
It was the fridge, because I didn't even hear it. I would have told you guys. It was the fridge.
But then again, like, they've had encounters too, so that's what I'm saying.
At that sister's house, I don't feel anything negative. I'm gonna be honest. Like, her house feels so peaceful.
I go, and I just can't go to the restroom at night. I can't. Like, I've tried, and I'm like, can you guys watch me while I go to the restroom?
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Well, sometimes I think it's our thoughts. It's like, if you think about it too much,
I don't know. That hall to go is like too dark for me, and I'm
Yeah.
just like I can't, because I swear to God, if I go out there and something grabs my leg,
No, but I'm saying
I'm
like
running.
the sister, the one here. Like
Oh.
recently, like not too long ago, I took care of her kids. Remember, because she went to a
Yeah.
concert. So it was her son and her two daughters and my daughter. So I stood in her house to watch the kids, and I went to her room to go change the little one, and the girls went with me, and her son was in his room. Like he went in his room. Well, when I was in the room, I literally saw somebody pass by the hall, like going to the kitchen, and it looked like her son. So after I changed her daughter and everything, I was going to the kitchen. I was like, oh, I said his name. And I was like, he's not here. What? And I was like, and I called him and I was like, where are you? He's like, in my room. And I was like, did you go to the kitchen, to the hallway? No. He's like, I was literally in my room the whole time. I was like, okay. I was like, so I left all the lights on. I left the kitchen lights on.
Well, I mean, I know that she had said that she had seen things before, and I remember not the little one, but the one that's what is she,
the
4
one
or
before
5?
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one before that one. I remember when she was little, that the kids were at school, her older kids, when they were at school,
Yeah.
she would go and say that she would see my nephew in the closet.
Oh.
Yeah, she had told her like a couple times, like, oh, like, who are you talking to? She's like, Gio, he's in the closet.
That's scary. That's scary. I always tell her, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't feel nothing positive in your house. I'm like, I don't like being in there. I'm like, I don't know. It's just you can sometimes feel it, you know, like the
But
vibes
then
in the house.
again, the people that lived there before her were also elderly people, so maybe they passed.
But still, think about it. When it's
Yeah.
something that shape shifts,
Yeah.
then it's nothing good if you really think about it. Like something
That's
that does
true.
that is not good. And like for me, like I'm telling you, I try to ignore it when I see and I feel things.
Yeah.
Like I try to ignore it because I'm like, when you pay attention more to it, like it's gonna, you know, react to it and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I got him, you know. And like how I told you about, like when I lived in the apartment, like the things that happened to me, you get me? I'm like, I'm not gonna pay attention to it. Like sometimes even when I was alone in the apartment, when it was just my dog and me, sometimes my dog would sit in the front of the couch and be looking like at the couch and going like this. And I'm like, who are you seeing? I'm like, you know,
stop it right now.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna give into it. I'm like, he's not barking, so I'm assuming it's nothing like negative. But one time that we were in the room, and Christian was there that time, and he's like, he didn't hear anything. He says, and it was Amaya, me, and the dog, and Christian didn't hear anything, but we heard literally like somebody passed by the hallway, and my dog literally got on the bed and growled and was like facing towards like the doorway, and like my daughter and I heard it, and he went out there. He's like, "There's nothing." Another time, I was by myself at the apartment. My daughter had spent the night at our sister's house, and the dog was with me again. Well, he kept hitting like the door from to go out to like the living room and stuff. And I was like, fuck no, I don't want to open the door. Like I was already shitting, you know, balls. I was like, fuck no. So then I was like, no. And he kept like that.
He's like, I
and,
have to.
And he kept hitting it. So then as soon as I opened the door, he runs to the kitchen, turns around towards the dining table and starts freaking barking. And I was like, oh, hell no. And the thing was that so many things were happening to me. Like, and it was just, I'm like, there's something there. But again, I had mentioned that I had a downstairs neighbor who had issues with some girl, and I did hear the girl saying something about witchcraft one time to him. So I'm like, you know how they say sometimes like energy can, you know, I think kind of go around, spread around. So I'm assuming that it was that bad energy.
Or maybe the girl thought he's cheating on me with the girl upstairs. She did the witchcraft to you.
And or maybe she's like, any girl that lives upstairs, we're gonna do it to where they have to get out, right? But yeah, it's like it's different encounters that, you know, like I've had, but that I could say like, oh, I've had one recently. Like after that one time that I'm telling you that I got my cards read, it's like I haven't.
Well, I'm telling you, maybe our brother just wanted you to know that he was around.
But then there wasn't like, okay, I could say a lot because again, a lot of things have happened to me. Another one was like when my daughter was little and she was like dancing in the room. And I remember like that time she was like, I think she was like 5 years old or so. And she was like, Mom, record me like on TikTok, I think it was. And she was like, record me, like I want to dance. So I was recording, right? And it was just her and I didn't have my dog. the door was closed from the room. Christian was in there. And then all of a sudden, I see this white shadow pass by her, and it looked like a dog, like literally by her. And she jumped, and she was like, "What was that?" I was like, "You saw that?" "Yes." "What was it? Was it like the dogs, my in-laws'
Yeah.
dogs?" I was like, "How was it them if the door's closed?" I was like, "It was nothing. It was just like we probably just saw something." But I seen it too, and I'm like, "How do you explain that when your daughter seen
Sees
the
it.
same thing?" You get me? So I'm like, "Okay, it's white." Not, they say that white is good, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's white. I'm not gonna take it as anything bad. But the thing that tripped me out was as soon as I hit stop recording, that's when it popped
passed.
out. Yeah,
It was like, you're not getting me.
yeah, because I'm like, if I would have been recording, I would have been able to get it on camera.
Yeah.
But literally, as soon as I hit it, it just like it went by, and I'm like, man, like I wish I would have had the camera on so I could have, got it on camera. But I mean, I don't know if you have any other stories, because I can keep going with mine. I have so many.
I know that there's been like a few, like mom has always been like, no, there's no such thing, like she's a skeptic? That's what it's called, right? A skeptic?
Yeah.
But I know that there is one encounter for her in the house that we used to live not before this one, but the house in front. Yes, we used to live. We used to live in the house in front of this house.
Yes. We moved so many times, you guys.
My parents are weird like that.
Yeah. So like the front house from this house, my parents owned that one, and then afterwards
we moved somewhere, and then we came back to this one. But anyways, that's besides the point. So in that house, that was the one time where she actually like felt something, like something pulled her hair.
She was like, "Come here, bitch."
So she was like, "You're not believing in me?"
She's like from Scary Movie. Oh, hell no. Oh, what is it? Nikki. Have you seen that when the girl from The Ring is coming out?
Yeah, but that's the one time when she said that she felt somebody pull her hair.
Yeah.
And she woke up and the same thing, like her head was hurting. And she's like, I know, fue mi vieja, ahorita me agarro las
right? She's like, and not for a good reason.
No, but then I remember in this house too, something had happened again during Christmas where the man
I think
passed
it was
away.
for her dad, right?
Yeah. So it was actually
in this room.
So my dad was vacuuming the house. He was in this room, and they heard. Well, my mom heard it, like someone crying in pain.
Yeah.
But it was in their room. So my mom thought, okay, maybe he fell in something. So she was like yelling for him.
Yeah.
And that he wouldn't respond. So she was like, maybe he fell. Let me go check.
Yeah.
So she was going towards the room, and then my dad was in here, and he was like, just like in shock. Like he was like, he couldn't move. Like he was just like, what just happened? And he was like, you heard that too? And like that, he was just scared. Like he didn't know what to do.
I think my mom said that he slept with the lights on, right?
After that, lights on.
Yeah. Yeah, and like for my parents to actually get scared and like to actually believe in something, it's weird because they tend to like just brush it off and be like, no, it's not that. Yeah. You get me? But like
for him to actually sleep with the lights on now,
yeah, and like to actually like fear something, then But like my mom too, she heard it at a different house here that we used to live in again. She heard the dog
barking.
Yeah, she said like a nasty growl.
And then I told her, like, I was little, and then I was like, what was that? And she was like, it's nothing.
Yeah, but that house was creepy too.
But the thing is that same day, our dad had got bit by a dog.
He got attacked by a dog. Yeah, I remember. He got home. I think he was like bleeding or something,
from his like leg.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that house was creepy too, because I remember one time I was in the living room with our aunt who let us borrow these dresses.
She actually made these dresses.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, our aunt / grandma, she's like, she's 90. And let me tell you, I want to be like her when I'm old, because she be looking still young. So, yeah, she made these dresses. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But, yeah, like with that house, it was her and I, and we were in the living room, and all of a sudden, like, the TV just turned on itself. It was, like, weird things that would happen in that house. And even our sister once saw, like, an old lady, she said.
Well, I mean, didn't their, like, walls used to, like, literally sweat?
Oh, yeah, but you know what happened? That's the house where that one time that our sister Liz, I, and you stood at.
Oh, and the whole...
Yeah.
The blender turned on, no?
Yeah, we were in my sister's room, and my sister was taking care of Emily and I. And all of a sudden we hear like this noise, and we thought it was our neighbor, because it was like this older man, and he always had the tendency of like trimming down like the bushes. His bush. He always had the tendency of trimming down like the bushes at his house. So we thought he was using that machine. I don't know what it's called. What is it called? What's it called? You don't know the name of it? Okay.
The
Anyways, it was like this machine to
trimmer.
Yeah, to trim down the bushes. So we're like, oh, it's probably him. But it kept getting louder and louder. And my sister's like, oh, go check. So I went to the kitchen and the blender was fully on. All 4 of the burners in the stove were on. And I was like, how the hell do you explain this? And my husband, I tell Christian now, he's like, it's a short. But I'm like, how the hell
But
does
in
that
the blender
happen?
and
The stove. I'm like,
and wasn't the stove gas?
Yeah. So like all like literally full on flames, like everything, all 4 of them were on, and then the blender. So I called my sister. I'm like, the blender and the stove are on, and she was like, what? And she goes and she just turns it off. I was like, how can that happen? She's like, oh no, it's fine. Like I think she was trying to just brush it off. But like I was like, oh hell no! Like how the hell do you explain this? And then we had like a bathroom in the garage. I don't remember if you remember in that house. Like you had to open the garage door, and the garage was pitch black. Like that shit was scary to go in there and go in that shower. And that was like the nicest restroom in the house. I'll just say it like that. It was like a new restroom.
They
like,
did it on purpose.
But I would fucking leave the garage door open because that shit was scary as how like being in there. Because I don't know, like I got bad vibes from that house. The only
if you want a psychic medium, hire Crystal.
Right? I know, right? I'm like, I could say a lot.
Crystal's Lorraine Warren.
I've told Emily, hey, she'll be like, oh, something about my friend. I'm like, oh, your friend? I'm like, I'm gonna tell you your friend this, and this.
I'm sorry, but please don't meet don't ever come to my house and meet Crystal. She will tell me exactly what she believes that you are. If you're fake, I'll know it.
She's a mean girl. She's a bitch. But yeah, that house was creepy. And then when we lived in the first house that we moved to in Moreno Valley, that house was really creepy. This house is huge. It was like a 4-bedroom, right? But it was like a cabin. It looked literally like a cabin.
I love the house, but even though there was like
and it was like it had a huge yard. It had 2 yards. We'll say a downstairs yard and an upstairs yard, and then it had a basement. And basically, the owners were older too, and they made the house on the way that they wanted to make it. Like it was their style. Like they built the house. They built it for them. So this one time I remember it was my sister Mariana and my brother and I that stood home. I think my parents had taken you to the hospital because you got sick.
Emily was always sick. I was always sick, guys.
Yeah, and Liz I think went with them to the hospital. So it was just us, and it was my sister and I. Mariana and I would share one room, and then our brother was at the last one in the hallway. So it was like our rooms were literally next to each other. So all of a sudden we hear like squeaky boots, like rain boots, walking down the hallway. I heard that one time. Yeah, like you can hear the full on footsteps, and my sister's like, "Is it our brother?" I'm like, "No, that sounds like rain boots." Like literally, like it just. Oh my god, it just creeps me out thinking about it. So our brother gets out of his room, goes into her. Was that you guys? We're like, no, you heard it too? And he's like, yeah. So like we're like behind him, going down the hallway, looking everywhere. And we get to the kitchen, we turn on the lights, nothing. He gets the little things from the chimney, like the metal things. So he's like, here, you guys take this one, I'm taking this in case of anything, like just keep it with you. And that day was fucking creepy. Like you can hear the full on steps. Like it was hard steps with like the squeaky boots, right? And then another time, it was when I was by myself sleeping finally in our room. Our siblings had moved out. And I was talking to Chris on the phone. I remember, I think I was texting him actually. And all of a sudden I see like this black figure literally pass right in front of me, like in front of my bed. And I was like, oh, hell no. And I go running to my mom's room and I let her know. And my mom was like, oh, you can just stay in here. But I'm like, no, I want to stay in my room. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm not going to pay attention to it no more. But yeah. And then that one time, remember what happened to us?
Oh, hell no.
You want to share that?
So we were in my parents' they had the master bedroom, whatever. It was a big room too. And it was Crystal and I, we were in there. Our parents were what, like in the living room with like family members or something?
I think so. Yeah, they were in the living room. Yeah.
And Crystal and I were like messing around. And keep in mind, like at the time we did have like a mouse in the house.
A mouse in the house.
And we used to keep like towels like rolled up like on the doors so like the mouse wouldn't like go in the rooms.
Because we thought they were coming in through the vents from the basement.
Yeah. Or through the vents, whatever. So we like had like a little like towel, but the door was like somewhat open. And
You know what? I don't think, was it that? Was it that, or is it because remember that they have put carpet and it was kind of like it's hard sometimes when you push the door open, like when it has carpet.
yeah, that too. Either or, it was either the carpet or the towel, but there was something, and like like if
it was hard. It was
yeah, it was hard to like close or open the door.
Yeah.
So we were just messing around, and then what were you doing? That
Oh, I think I was tickling Emily, just pretend like play fighting, right? I had Emily on the floor, like on my parents'
yeah, I
doorway.
remember that.
Yeah, I had Emily like literally on the door, like right there with the door frame, whatever, the doorway. So like I was messing around with her and we're just play fighting. All of a sudden,
the doors like starts closing on us.
Yeah, and that door is so hard to close because again, it was the carpet, and you know how sometimes you have to use both hands to pull it. Well, that door started closing on its own, and we got up as
we're like,
quick.
nope.
Yeah, and we went running to my mom. I remember we told her, and I was like, "Hi, it's just
like
you
it's
guys.
just you guys. It's just your imagination."
Yeah, and then
but the thing is that in that room, again, it was like an older couple that made their home. And
I thought you said made love in that room. I thought you were gonna say that.
Maybe that too. We never know.
They were like, "Close the door, you ladies, and stink out."
He was like, "Ling Ling, open your mouth."
Right.
But anyways,
one mouth.
But anyways, in that room too, I remember Dad had seen a lady walking to the restroom.
Oh, I think I heard that, but I don't.
And I remember he woke Mom up, and Mom was like, "Ay, ya cállate, nomás like es tu imaginación or whatever." Yeah. So, but that he had seen it, and I was just like, girl.
Yeah, that house is crazy. Even our sister would see stuff. Like she's seen, one
time too, she had, somebody that was over too, and they were watching Carissa.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And she was in the kitchen, and that when she came back, they were like, "Were you closing the door?" And it was the same room.
Yeah, and then one time I think she said that her now ex-husband had gone to the kitchen at night. And that the whole kitchen shook, but
there was like nothing.
Yeah, that house it was big, it was nice, but it was scary. I'll just say it like that. It was really scary. Like, there was times I would stay alone and I would get scared, but I'm like, I can't just give into it. You get me? Like, I can't pay attention to.
I just like it was like the fact that it was like a long hallway too.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, and then like. It was just, again, if you guys would have seen this house, you guys would have understood. And I always wonder, I'm like, the people living in and out, like, I wonder if they've experienced stuff.
Who knows? Because, sometimes when it's like a bigger family, sometimes it's like, maybe like not.
But think about it, like, when, like.
But the fact is that, like, our parents are always like, with holy water and stuff,
but
and they bless the home too.
But can I say something? Like, even in the apartment, I had this rosary that my mom had given us that was like literally fully blessed, and she says that those are the type, I don't want to say it because it scares me, but those are the type of rosaries they use, she says, for like exorcisms. Yeah. And I had it at the house, okay, like the apartment, and all these things were happening. You get me? Even like my dryer caught on fire. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, I'm like, how the hell, like, it was so many things that was happening to me all at once that I'm like, what is all this, like, going on?
Crystal just had to get out, basically.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it. I think, like, that's when I was mentally and emotionally getting drained, remember? Yeah. And it was so bad that I feel like once I got out, like, I started kind of, how do you say it?
Well, I mean, that's where Amaya's whole thing started, too.
Yeah. So... I don't know. Okay, I'll just say it. So, like, even I started with really bad anxiety, and I don't want to say, like, well, maybe, like, depression, I'm going to say, to the point where it was, like, every single day I was crying nonstop. I didn't feel happy. It was so many things going on. On top of that, out of nowhere, my daughter got this anxiety where I didn't take her to school. I had to have her for homeschool for a while. It was like so much, like out of the blue, like from one day to the next day. It was just so weird.
But don't they say that when like something when something tries to like take over?
Yeah, sometimes they say that it's when they see so much how do you say
positivity or whatever?
Not spiritual. Like if somebody's so spiritually, I don't explain it. Like if they see that you have a strong faith, sometimes it's when they tries to attack more, right?
Yeah.
So again, I've never believed it. I'm like, it's probably just anxiety. You get me, all these things. But it was just like, how does this happen from one day to the other? And then all these other things were happening. And like, I was doing like these meditation classes, like, to help, like,
Maybe like calm the
to calm
anxiety.
yourself down. Like it was like meditation. So like the girl told me, she's like, can I tell you something? She was like, you need to pray. You need to get closer to God. If you're close to God, get closer to him, and you'll see that things start to change. And I was just like, okay. I started doing it. I started going to church. I started praying more, doing more things towards God and stuff. And yeah, it started helping little by little. Things started getting better. And it was so weird because like one day out of nowhere, like this video pops up on my thing and it says like, when you're like feeling it, I don't explain it. It spoke to me. You get me? Like everything like that it said, like it spoke to me like in that situation that was going on. So I'm like, and it said basically like sometimes like the devil sees that somebody's like really spiritual and like
very having
and that sometimes they try to attack. So I'm like, I don't want to believe in that stuff because I'm like, I feel like there is times when people get anxiety, but I'm like, how do you explain from one day to the next day and all these other little things happening in the apartment? So again, I'm like, no, fuck this. Like, I'm not gonna let this like take me down. So I was like, put on your panties. And I'm like, I know it's fucking hard. Like,
put on your granny panties.
Yeah, I'm like, I know it's fucking hard what you're going through, but you're gonna get closer to God. You're gonna beat this shit. I'm like, literally, and you're gonna be like, you know what? You're not gonna get me. And that's what I did. I'm like, I'm gonna start praying. And that's why I say, like, now my relationship with God, I feel like it's closer because of that. Because like again, I feel like sometimes, like they say, sometimes in the darkest place, like that's where you find the light. And I feel like for me, that's why I'm like, you know what? No, I'm like, if something's going wrong, I'm like, no, I'm like, God's got me. He's showed me once, and I know he's gonna get me again. And there's been times that things have been happening, like where I'm like, fuck, like I'm like struggling with something, and
God's like, no.
And out of the blue, something comes up to help me with that situation. And it's so crazy. But I'm like, I believe in God. I don't need to believe in anything else other than him.
But, girl, I don't know. There's just things that happen, and
I mean, we can keep going if we wanted to, but I feel like it's a lot for one episode for us to keep going. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to share your guys' experience, your paranormal ghost encounters, or even the ones in Mexico, like those are crazy.
I want to hear some of those.
If you guys have any of those or anything, like
right now that you say that, I'm sorry. Just like quick, like last thing, I saw this video that on TikTok, and it was like literally La Llorona, that they had gone to Honduras, I believe, and they had heard the Llorona before, but whatever, they came back to the US, and then again they ended up going to Mexico again to spend the night, and that there was actually I believe it was a priest. He was walking at night and he heard the Llorona, so he hid behind a bush and he was recording, and you can literally see like the shadow of like someone walking, and you could hear the dogs like growling and crying and everything, and you can literally see a shadow, and it looks like a dress, whatever. You see a shadow walking, and all of a sudden it just disappears.
My question is, if she sees you, what happens?
Doesn't she get you too?
Is it?
I think she gets you, and she drowns you.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna start crying.
Stop. But I thought it was just with kids, no?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to figure it out. I'm okay. I'm good on that. But yeah, if you guys want to share your guys' experience or any stories that you guys know or have heard from a friend, family member, let us know down in the comments.
Have you been to Mexico? Seen the Llorona? Heard the Llorona?
Right?
Seen el cucuy?
El
chupacabras?
El chupacabras. I was going to say el chupapapi. Daddy. But yeah, if you guys have any stories, please comment them down below,
or send them to the home_by9 Instagram page.
Yes, and just DM us and let us know your story. Well, we'll wrap it up from now, and
yeah, because this old lady gotta sleep, girl.
Right, I gotta go shower. these hormones are getting to me.
This wig is making me itch.
All right, then guys. See you guys next time.
Okay, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.